right, 6th of July 2020 Town Council meeting. Roll call, all members present. Need a motion to approve the minutes for June 15th and the special meeting on June 22nd.
I'll make a motion, we accept the meetings from June 15th and the special meeting on June 12th, or 22nd.
Been moved and seconded, we accept the minutes from June 15th and the special meeting on June 22nd. All in favor?
Aye.
Nice to have it, motion carried. Is this Mrs. Payton?
Yes.
Your utilities will be turned on in the morning, so we've already got it taken care of, so come see us at 8 o'clock.
Thank you.
Okay. After hours charges. This is on there because we used to, years back, anytime that we did an after hour service call, when we tell the residents to call in to make sure that it's not their problem, but the town's problem. So if they're calling in and stuff, and like the one day we had a woman call in that lost part of her power. I said, make sure it's yours or ours and stuff, but I said, call, we're on a holiday weekend and stuff, and you'll be charged for after hour service call. Ended up being their problem. But we had two guys come in at double time, and the town can't afford that kind of loss to bring in. You know, you got a electrical man here and stuff that on double time, you're coming in at $66 an hour plus the other person. You've got $150, $160 because you're paying 2 hours pay on that. We can't afford that. That has to be recouped. Going through the ordinances, I did find to where we do charge for the after-hour service charges. When I asked the clerk's office about it, I talked to Laura, and Laura said they had never charged an after-hour service charge. So I just wanted to let the council know and put it on the record that we do charge for after-hour service charges when it's not the town's problem.
And is that a flat, is that a certain fee? Is that depending on?
It was the
just trying to recoup what we
hours,
lost, or?
the employee hours.
Okay.
And parts.
Yeah. There's no parts if it's not our problem.
Yeah.
Just employees time.
So is that something that we're gonna put back out to the, because we have so much turnaround here with renters and everything else, that if they're not aware of that, then we're gonna create all kinds of problems if they're not made aware of it. We should be able to put out some sort of notice to them that this is what's gonna happen, to make sure that it's on our side and not your side before you call.
And typically, I think our guys, most of our guys, that's one of the things we let them know right away. You're having sewer issues, you know, are you sure? Did you know, try this, that, you know, before we come out, because if we get there and our sewer's clear, then you're gonna be charged a service call. So we typically will let them know, yes, absolutely.
We should probably put in a newsletter too.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, that would be
At least
good.
still put it out as a general, even in the newsletter or something, saying that they need to start making sure that it's theirs and not ours.
Okay.
If it's theirs, then at least we made the attempt then as a council to notify them that this is how it's gonna proceed from here on forward.
We all do that.
Yep.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is town hall maintenance. I'm just speaking here for myself. Town hall is the nucleus of the town as far as I'm concerned. When people go into the town hall, they should see something that looks good, something that's taken care of, something that's clean. Right now, we've got a town hall that's got the men's bathroom, the exhaust fan. I'm waiting for it to catch the building on fire. There's several lights that the balusters are totally out that need to be replaced in the ceiling. The building needs a general cleaning. If the employees aren't going to clean it, then we need to figure out how it's going to get done. But when you walk into the town hall, from my perspective as a ratepayer and a citizen of the town, I shouldn't look at things that are broken or trash or anything else, especially for the amount of utilities that we're charging. you should look in and say, you know, okay, we got a shiny little button here and stuff, at least it looks good, you know, rather than seeing something that's run down and still charging a bunch of money for. So we need to spruce that up. Us as a council and the employees that work in there. The police department used to take care of the conference room along with the police department itself. The conference room actually belongs to the police department. It was the police department's funds when that was made there and stuff that paid for everything there, and we did the labor mostly on putting that together. It's always been used to the point of if the council or somebody needed to use it, we could use it, but if the police department had interviews or people inside there and stuff, all they had to do is put a note on the outside of the door and stuff, and it wasn't for use at that time. It used to be where all employees went in and ate lunch once in a while too. So, just me as a you're going on vacation for the next week? Who's your second guy?
A few days, but
Can we schedule a day when you get back, just one day dedicated to the town hall where we can get in there and get them lights switched and do that fan and,
it's awful now.
And,
that's not a big deal.
Main steps.
the main steps I've already screwed down. I did that this weekend. But it needs some general maintenance in there, and the employees that work at the town hall, we need to clean it up a bit. Anybody else have any discussion? Jason?
Last week I met with Paul Dixon. We went over the roads we're paving, put a little bit of pink paint, marked out kind of how far back we want to cut the ADA ramps, how many sections of sidewalk we want to take out to get it back to where it should be. We got that taken care of. There is one massive tree on the corner of Knox and Chatfield down there by the water tower. Right on the corner, it's going to interfere with our ADA ramp or approach there. I had told the gentleman if we can reach it and we'll cut it down, but then they can pull it out, pull the stump out for us.
Is that on the property owner side or
It's
or in the tree line?
It is the property owners, I believe, but I still haven't had, I stopped by again today, actually, I can't seem to catch them people home. It's either one vehicle's home and they're not there, or the other vehicle's home and they're not there, so.
Renter?
No, I think I believe it's the people that own that house, best I can remember. So I plan to try to touch base with them and see, I would think they would be for getting it. It's got that sidewalk buckled 2 foot and a half in the air, so it's already like a hazard, so.
It's not off the.
But there's no way that we can put anything else there without
So
digging
chances
that
are
tree out.
it will kill the tree when we go in to try to do that.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to cut it.
I don't think it can be done without the tree being removed, can it?
No, I don't think so.
We're talking about us removing the tree? How big a tree?
It's a big tree, that's what I said. I would say we can cut it if we can reach it, which I discussed with Walsh and Kelly. But if we can't reach it, they said they got somebody to take care of it, but I figured it'd save us a little money if we can cut it down,
Sure.
get it out of there, and then just have them remove the stump, because we don't really have, that backhoe would take half a day to dig that. It's massive stuff. So we got that going on. The paving will be happening in a few weeks here. When I know a start date, I'll get with you guys on that. That's pretty well it. We're getting ready to dive in, like I said, the little tree trimming. We've got a house out here. We used to be able to get in the yard. At some point in time, they got mad and planted trees and barricaded to where we can't get back to the fuse anymore and the transformer, so I got plans to come along the Wesleyan Church there, side trim that tree and move the cutout and lightning, or just rebuild it all so we can we can access it hopefully from the church side, and we don't have to worry about it, because if we, I mean, and I've already had 2 outages in the last 2 weeks that are just a squirrel, so, and you gotta fuse it from the ground with a 35-foot stick, so. Joe seen us out there the other day, for the second time.
That particular home would not let the tree trimmers come and trim, that's why.
Yeah, I know.
Well, what happened was they went in there once before, they didn't fix his yard.
That's what it sounded like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
that's
didn't-
kind of what he expressed to me, and I talked to him that night, he was real understanding that basically he was, if I had to get in there, I mean, he was gonna let me in there, but, because I told him I can't sit here and wear myself out all night if I can't get that thing from the ground, I gotta get in here, if you want power, I mean, simple, and if we gotta get in there to change a transformer, if that transformer ever goes bad, we have to get in there anyway.
Now, is that the?
Even if we can back up at the church, we still gotta get the digger in unless it's a climbable pole, and then we can climb and set a gin above it and take it down, you know, on a set of hooks or whatever.
Is that at the end of the line, Jason, or is that at a L? Does it come down that yard and shoot back Knox Street, or does it stop right there?
It stops right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the very end of the line.
That's it, yep, dead end, yep. We can move it too, but I think the best thing would be to trim that tree there at Leslie and spin it around to that backside where we can just back right in. The trees need to be cut anyway, so. I guess that's probably about all I got.
Well, touching on decrepit poles, I know I had a conversation with Jason. IMPA has been here and give us a report saying all the poles they did were all the poles they checked were good. Jason's found several poles in town and stuff that he can dig down a little bit and put his fist through. So that's not what we call good poles, that's what we call danger poles. So.
And this is just trimming some vines off of them, spraying them, and just happened to inspect the pole myself while I was there. And so I'm hoping next year that, I mean, a lot of these are probably, I mean, a lot of them are guide or it's a buck arm pole where it kind of crosses. So they're being held up essentially by the wires. They're probably never, you know, a lot of them may or may not ever fall, but it's just not
It's not a good fall.
thing, you know, and now that we have the capability to change them and
Do we got
all that good stuff. Yeah, we have some, yeah. And the poles aren't that expensive, a couple $100 a piece, so I mean, I'm hoping next year to get some plans on a little program changing some of them out, doing little projects in the electric. That's all I have though.
Okay. Thank you. Enjoy your vacation. I'm going to keep you here for just a little bit. We're gonna get Jerry, you know, has a schedule here and stuff. And after we're done there, you can split on your vacation.
All right, appreciate it.
Jerry, I'm gonna skip around. Come on up.
I'm here to see if you found the ordinance on who has to fix that water line.
Your water line? The picture I saw was your responsibility. The water, we're responsible for the main and the meter. That's the way it is now. Used to be where we were responsible from the main to the shut-off box and the meter. That's changed. Have I found those ordinances?
That's
No.
you know,
Right now, I have been given, and you served on the council for the last 4 years before
Yes, I
this.
did.
And I was given a pile of ordinances that have so much outdated stuff in them and are missing ordinances. How you operated for the time you were in, because you didn't know what ordinances you had or anything else. And from the time when I worked here, 50% of the ordinances are missing. And I've spent the last 2.5 weeks going through these ordinances, paper by paper, putting everything in order, getting rid of the junk that's 20 years old that didn't need to be kept, and trying to put things back in perspective again so we can get our ordinances.
All I wanted to find out, Dennis, I wanted to see the ordinance so I know whose responsibility it is. Because from what I knew and from what I understood, coming up out of the ground to the town's meter, it's on the town. Well, I'm telling you, this is what I understand, and this is what I've seen it to be.
Not since I've been here.
And I was getting ready to say, I just had this whole thing where I came to the council and asked them to put in a drop from my thing, to my yard, and it cost me $1,500 out of pocket to go from where the town, if the town is responsible for that, they're responsible from the drop all the way up to the meter, and they're responsible for the meter. I actually contacted Jason to help me with it, or to do it, outside, he was still working in Walkerton. And when I advised him, he said that we've always done the drops. You guys told me that, I was told by Renee here that it was my responsibility to go all the way up there. The town did supply me the meter box, thanks to Larry. Larry's the one who actually got the meter box and the meter for me, supplied by the town, but it was my responsibility to dig the hole, to pay for the wiring, to pay for all the stuff all the way up there, and it cost me $1,500.
To dig what hole? What hole?
To draw the line.
He's talking about water.
Oh, this is the water? Oh, okay.
I'm talking water.
I thought this was the electric
No.
line.
No.
That too.
Well, I mean, it's the
It
same,
is kind of the same
concept.
Same concept almost, but yeah, I mean,
All I'm asking for, I don't want to hear this policy. All I want to see is the ordinance. And then, I'll go home and go to bed, because I'm too tired to be here right now. And I don't feel good. That's all I want. All I want to do is see the ordinance, see the date, and see that it's signed. And we can go from there. I'm not trying to beat the town out of nothing, because I live here.
I can tell you that the employees that have been here and the council members that have been on here all remember those ordinances quite well. And if we cannot find those ordinances, then they'll be put back into place just the way they were before they were lost.
Maybe we should get the lawyer's opinion on that.
I think you need to look and see if you can find your ordinances.
And we looked, we couldn't, I stayed
Well, we're
there
still
for an
looking.
hour or two.
We're still looking. I still have
I
piles to
didn't
look.
find it.
Brandy's got something.
If you go by the old ordinance or the new ordinance, either way would still be Jerry's issue, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Correct?
yeah, either way. But it sounds like we don't have either an old one or.
Either or. We don't have the old.
Not as of yet.
Or the,
You're digging.
We're probably looking at, I would guesstimate another 2 to 3 weeks down the road before I get all that done.
all right. You know where I live, you know my phone number. Give me a call when you find it.
I hope we do find it.
I hope
And I'm
it-
looking for a whole lot of others too.
I hope you find it before next month. Because I had to take it out of some other money to pay to have it put in. And I didn't have it, but I made arrangements. All right, thank you, gentlemen. I gotta get home. How you doing, Larry?
All right, Jerry.
Marshall's report. Have a good vacation there.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Drop that Harley off at my house.
There better not be any outages while you're gone.
Good evening. Got a couple things to talk about. I'll go over the numbers with you real quick. For the month of June, 87 calls for service, 20 reports, 4 arrests, 2 traffic citations. We did 7 assists, 5 to the sheriff's department, 2 to EMS, no accident reports, and we wrote a total of 10 ordinance. I wrote a total of 10 ordinance violations. Obviously,
That's pretty busy for one person.
well, I was gonna tell you, obviously, the numbers are down a little bit. I guess all you guys are quite aware, and I'll say it for the public's sake, we've been down basically since the first week of June, we've been down to me and Scott Aptowski looking. You know, he's stepped up a bunch and helped us out a whole lot. He's still pretty limited though. So, you know, as far as everyone goes, you know, hey, I stopped in at 10 o'clock Wednesday morning and the marshal wasn't in, you know. I've been moving my hours around, trying to keep people out here in the evening time, so it's kind of like we talked about the last meeting, that's going on. So we've finally got a few part-time people interested. I got one with me tonight, it's Ashley Vandermark. She's been with us for about 2 weeks now. Seems to be working out pretty well. Jury's still out. We'll see. But she's with us right now. I did put a couple more on. I'm hoping by the next meeting I'll have them here for you guys. I'm waiting on some paperwork from one of them, and the other one we just got qualified tonight, so on his handgun. So hopefully by the next meeting we'll be up running with at least a pretty good part-time staff, so we can get our coverage back up where it needs to be. So. Outside of that, we started I started on the grass ordinances today. So far, I've got 12 letters ready to go out. I was hoping to get them finished off today, and I ran out of time, so they'll be in the mail tomorrow, posted. So hopefully that will start helping with the grass issue in town a little bit. I did have a couple properties I've emailed, reached out to Amber over. I think based on what I talked to her before the meeting, she's got to get back with me on a couple things. So I know one of them in particular, I've been writing citation after citation after citation. And
Greenway?
yeah,
Yeah,
they're just kind of, yeah, whatever. So.
What about the problem on Norway?
That's another one.
That's, yeah. I think you just nailed the two properties that I've been talking to her about, so. So yeah, we're at the point now, we're gonna have to take it a step further than a simple ordinance violation, and we're either gonna have to.
Yeah, I think you went as far as you can.
I think we're gonna have to either, and I think mostly the questions that I have with the one in particular was, just want to double check to make sure everything's squared away in our ordinance before we start going on to someone's property. I think that's important.
We found that one already.
Yeah.
We found that ordinance, we've got that one. It's horrible.
But, so, other than that, that's about all I have right now. I don't have a whole lot else to talk about. It's been just kind of dog battle in the last couple of weeks, so.
Did the gentleman behind the store, that big pile of plastic, did he clean up his trash or did he just cover it up with plastic?
Both. Mostly, yeah.
It'd be my opinion, he needs another citation.
And that's,
Because he's not doing his job. Anybody else that does a contractor would have bought a dumpster in here to use that and stuff. Why would you start building that and just throw all your trash behind everything, make everything look like
I actually
crap?
talked to his subcontractor. He was actually a pretty decent fella. I talked to him a little bit, and yeah, he's kind of eye rolling himself, you know, about the whole situation over there. So,
Well, I did find our schedule of fines that I shared with you that have been updated, and our schedule of fines aren't small. They go from 25 to 50 to 100 to $250 and stuff, and they keep it $250. So maybe a few of those larger ones will open somebody's eyes.
well, that's where I think we start getting into the progressions and you know, at the end of the day, as far as the ordinance goes, I mean, you guys may or may not know, I mean, you know, basically to enforce it, you're going to go to small claims court. So obviously I haven't been in a position since the first year, we haven't filed any, but we're at the point now with a couple of these, we've got a stack of them that it's time to go see the judge and, you know, go from there, so. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's still not, a couple of the properties I'm talking about, that's still not cleaning the problem up. So I think that's kind of where we need to collaborate a little bit, because I think we need to take the next step and start just abating the issue, if you will.
Never gets better.
And then the Granaway property, like,
Also got
Yes.
the courts starting to reopen and it's really confusing and
well, I'm gonna ask.
as well.
Oh, yeah, with the COVID, the dates,
It
everything else are null and
hasn't been
void.
easy to navigate that either.
Right.
The Granaway property is the one that applied for the permit to put up a fence?
Yes,
Is that correct?
that's correct.
Yes.
Larry can address that, I'm sure. And unfortunately, that one right there is like in the heart of town. So, I mean, not making excuses for it, but that makes it even worse. So, it is not lost on me. So, I think we're gonna hit phase 2 here shortly, so.
Good deal.
You said Ashley's been there for a couple weeks. How's she doing? Can she tell us how she's doing? How you liking it out here?
I like it. Good.
No issues or anything?
No, not so far.
She's said she finally figured the streets out a little bit, so I can tell you as an outsider coming in here, that takes a couple weeks, so.
Yeah, just trying to learn the area a little better and stuff.
Yeah. She's pretty friendly, so, wave at her, talk to her, and she'll be happy to have a conversation with you, so. Like Sal's trying to get those other two in here this next time. So.
Cool deal. Good.
Okay,
Thank you, sir. Larry?
Well, I have been kind of starting to pick up again with some roofing permits coming on. I've been mostly following up on jobs that are going on right now. I touched base with you on that fence on Granaway. I said we need to do something about an ordinance on that. Those stakes going up are just temporary. They said it's 4x4s, but still, it's a hideous looking. It's
Yeah.
hideous. So we got to take and put some bones in our fence ordinance as to what you can take and
Yep.
I think our plans right now, after we get the ordinances straightened out where we know what we have, then the council is gonna have to sit down and put a committee together with a couple of council members, planning commission, building inspector, marshal, and meet once every 2 weeks or something and hash out and figure out some upgrades and what we need to do.
Yeah,
because-
as far as me telling them, oh, that's an ugly fence, you can't put it out there, I
Yeah.
can't do that. But it is ugly.
We've got a long way to go on our ordinances and
Yes, we
stuff,
do.
but it'll take years to fix. We don't want to bombard Amber with, and she'll leave in the hot
Anything in your
weather.
zoning about fencing? Anything?
There is a fencing ordinance in the zoning that's not the ordinance I'm looking for. It's the older ordinance. So we actually have an ordinance that I remember that said exactly what the fence could be built, what the materials were and the whole nine yards. And
I couldn't
that
find it.
hasn't been found yet.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that, no.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that might be.
Oh yeah, I remember it. Well, I spent 16 years as the planning commission president. I remember very well.
I think that one came out about the same time as that driveway ordinance, didn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
matter of fact, you're right.
Yeah. You can't find that one either.
No, I have not run across that.
And that's supposed to be blacktop or concrete, no gravel.
No gravel on no houses. Or on new driveways.
Other than that, nothing.
Okay, thank you. Fire department?
So we've had, since from June 1st to actually today, we've actually had an unusually busy month. We've actually had call service of 40. We had 25 EMS, we had 1 car accident, 1 vehicle fire, 2 structure fires, 1 in town, 1 outside of town. Gas leak, 3 CO calls, 2 grass fires. We've had 1 burning violation in town and 4 fire alarms. We also have our Nelson's Porta Pit coming up on July 25th at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Cablin's Ace Hardware East, the smaller one I do believe. The pork chops are $8 a piece, half chicken 7, potatoes $4, and tickets are available from any department member or auxiliary member. Coming up here the next couple weeks when the parts come in, our engine will be out of service probably for 4 days to a week. We are having the valves rebuilt on the pump due to a mishap from one of the structure fires. Someone didn't circulate the pump, burn up some valves on us. We're repaired as soon as those come in. And for you guys and Randy, do you guys want us to go around and flush and test those hydrants that we know work, or leave them be?
They can do the ones that work.
Okay, so we go off our list of the ones that work and just test those, that we get an updated list for ISO when they come in. Which, with all this stuff going on, I have not heard back from her. 'Cause we were supposed to have that grading in May and it never happened. So I don't know when we're gonna do that. But other than that, that's all we've got.
Pushed off.
I was gonna say, they're gonna be so backlogged, it probably won't be until next year.
Yeah,
now that
you
they
call
get
the
the
office
last
now
one.
and you get no answer.
Yeah, it's, as this COVID pandemic has put a lot of things back on the back burner.
Other than that, that's all we have.
Okay, thank you.
Where do we get the tickets?
I've got some with me now.
Okay.
Council, in your folders, you have the settlement agreement for the mutual release with EMPA. On our special meeting, we all agreed on them keeping the materials fund and the additional $42,400 to end their contract. So we need a motion to accept EMPA's settlement agreement and mutual release under the stipulations they've written here in this contract.
I'll make a motion, we accept the settlement agreement and mutual aid release as written.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the EMPA settlement agreement and mutual release as written per contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. Dwayne, we have 5 days to comply, so tomorrow morning we can make that check out. We'll send it out certified mail and get her out there to them and sign our paperwork and rid this town of a mistake. And just so you know, this agreement will save the town approximately pretty close to $300,000 in 2.5 years. So, yes.
We didn't finish the utility reports. Wastewater didn't do those.
Okay. He can wait until the end of the meeting if you don't want to speak up for himself. Randy?
I was wondering.
You got a report? Go ahead, come on. Get your quarter fish chicken ticket to get you up here.
July 10th, we'll be having a pre-construction meeting to discuss, what's gonna be taking place down there. Last week, we spent several days draining the clarifier, getting it cleaned up for the most part. That way they can rehab it. The apprenticeship program, if you remember correctly, the guys were supposed to start that in January. They have started till June. And Alliance agreed to give them 1,000 hours of credit because they've been working under me and Jason. And with that being said, July 1st then, according to the contract, they Drake and Todd got a 50-cent raise. We've been doing some changes down there, and me and Laura went through some electric bills, and it looks like we're having a pretty good savings on electric power. I would say it's between $250 a month. I would think that would come up even more after the construction project's done, and we have VFD pumps at the headworks. But that's pretty much it. Oh, I do have one other thing. The golf cart died. And I would like to check into getting electric one.
The one I killed.
Yes. I don't want to say names, but.
Oh yeah, it died big time. That golf cart was probably, none of the guys were, it's probably 20 years old.
It's well over 20 years old.
When we bought it, used, and it's something that they do need, but I think the electric is the way to go. the gas, too many problems with gas carts and stuff. And you've got good batteries with electric, you've
can
got a
also
good cart.
control your speed better, spraying weed killer and stuff.
But they do need to look for another cart. Do we have any problems with that? Okay.
You guys have a recommended amount or just?
We can see what we can get first.
Yeah,
Look for
see
a better
what you can
deal.
get.
Bring
The
us
cheaper the better, but don't buy junk.
So no Cadillac?
yeah, we don't need big wheels and rims and all this other stuff.
We
Just
can buy an emblem on eBay.
Did we ever get the, I know this is kind of for the water and the sewer, but did we get the phone issue worked out down there?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
We need-
The guy came there and he left and never came back and the phone still won't work. Yep. I don't know what happened. The guy was there for about an hour and a half, and we was out in the working, and they said, no, he's gone, and don't know what happened. I don't know if he was planning on coming back, or...
Did you guys advise Laura or anybody up in the town hall?
No, I have not.
Yeah, we need to communicate more so we can get things
Is that for the
done.
water and so neither one of them still work?
Water and electric.
I did not know about the water or the electric, I just know at the wastewater plant, that one's definitely not.
Water and wastewater was.
And we took out the one here, right? The
Right.
one up, okay.
And that one's not working. I can guarantee you that it's not working.
Did
Okay.
you follow up with that?
That's something we can follow up tomorrow morning, please, and ask them why that's not done. That's a month old.
Yeah, I dropped the ball on that one.
No quarter bit chicken for you.
No Cadillac, no pork chicken, rough night. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. RTS, the garbage company, we are still having major problems with them. Last week and the week before, they missed the entire Park Place subdivision plus 11 other cans. I called them up and stuff and I said, listen, I talked to them and stuff and I said, listen, this is beginning to be a normal thing with you guys. No, you're not picking up as you're supposed to. You're not dumping as you're supposed to. You're getting in arguments with our residents and stuff over things. You're not dumping the stuff out of the dumpsters totally. They have not dumped the town's dumpster in 2 weeks now. And I told them, I said, you're being paid for a service and these people here in town are paying for that service. What are you gonna do to refund that service when you don't pick them up? Because right now we're at that point where you owe them money. And they have not called me back at all, and I've called 3 times, and they have not reached back out to me. I'm to the point with RTS, and this council's dealt with enough complaints here, that they either need to do their job, or we're gonna figure out a way to make them do their job, or we're gonna bring waste management back here. I have their contract, their services agreement here. I also, when we were arguing about the 1 item a week and stuff, and we started talking about that, I found on the tape recorder, and it's still there under B1320 at 11:06, the owner and his secretary are both standing here and stuff and said that we will have 5 large items per residence. Now, we're scolded when we do 1. And we've tried to make it easy on them and stuff by putting the dumpster down at this sewage plant. That's really put a strain on our guys having to watch down there. And because they weren't picking up as they were supposed to. So this has become a several-month headache as far as I'm concerned, and the headache needs to go away. I can only take 4 leave a day, and I'm not taking any more.
Well, they're breaching contract now, aren't they?
Well, we're kind of asking for our attorney's advice here at this point because we're at our wit's end.
The service is just not up to, I mean, they're leaving trash cans in the street. I mean, they're literally going from side to side, and that's exactly where they're missing, is they're trying to do both sides of the street with 1 pass.
Oh, no.
And then when they roll your garbage can, they just kind of flip it and it stays in the street, so you got jigsaw puzzle to drive around and everything, especially if you got two cars coming through there. So I was gonna take a picture of it one day because it was kind of irritating as well, but the service is just really, really
Substandard.
bad.
Well,
Really, really bad.
Even the one
You got
large item a
plastic,
week
too.
is not being picked up without being scheduled. That's not,
Well, that's what the dumpster was for.
exactly,
Yeah, but
but
the dumpsters aren't even big enough. I thought they were like a.
Well, he said that he would possibly bring two of them up if they had to.
Sometimes cheaper is not better, and unfortunately, there's a lot of residents that have put out there that they would rather pay the higher premium to Waste Management to keep their, because we didn't have these kinds of problems with Waste Management.
Well, basically, Waste Management would have put their numbers up for
If they would have had
4
years,
years
4
and
and
5
5.
years out, then you guys probably would have stayed with them. Just my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right. That was the deciding factor and stuff with the old council and when they asked the new council, because Waste Management would not put the numbers on 4 and 5. And I'll still say today, I think it'd be foolish to get into a contract with open numbers, you know? But,
They could double them up.
but I'm to the term now to where a 3-year contract would have been better than this 5-year contract.
Well, and then the other thing you've got going on is I wasn't here last year, so I don't know what your bid documents say. I've never seen them. Your bid documents are part of this agreement, so whatever your bid documents say, I gotta see those as well.
But can't you go back to them and go breach a contract? Because if they ain't doing what they say, that's breach of contract.
Correct, but you need all the contract documents to say what they're in breach of.
She needs the other half of the contract, see?
Yeah.
So, make a note that we send her all of the,
I need every
Everything
single
for RTOs.
bid document, so the notice that went in the paper, all of the specifications, all the instructions.
So it's a whole
So, let's just hope they
file.
was done right.
oh my God.
So I haven't seen it.
We haven't found too many things that were done right.
I haven't seen it.
Email.
Yeah, you can email, that'd be great.
How much more of a premium would the residents of the town be paying for WM to come back instead of RTS?
Wouldn't know that until we had the documents in front of us, and that's what she's talking about. And,
Okay.
We don't have that with us.
Yeah.
By the time the third year come around, it was almost $2 more a pickup per person, I know that. There was
Yeah.
some people that there ways.
I think in the 5-year contract, it was like a $25,000 savings to the community. But, you know, if you're not gonna do the job, $25,000 doesn't mean anything to 500 residents out here that want their trash picked up. So,
Especially when you can just throw out anything and it doesn't matter what you throw out, they take it.
Walsh and Kelly update, I think Jason's already covered that. Clerk's report. I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, have you been documenting every time you call too?
I've got some documentation.
Make detailed
yes.
notes. Make detailed notes, because we might have to do a breach letter to them.
First thing I gave you guys is the virus fund.
Coronavirus.
Yeah. For round 2. And I need your okay. Just put it together.
So you're gonna take the clerk's part-time pay out of that?
And there's 2 different things on this time.
Yeah, the other ones are life packs for
2 packs. And 2 packs of the
police department and fire department. Is there a motion to approve the $5,174 purchase for the 2 life packs and the part-time pay on the virus fund?
I'll make a motion, we accept the $5,174 for the second round approval for the coronavirus fund.
Moving second, that we accept the second round of the coronavirus fund in the amount of $5,174 for the part-time pay and 2 life packs. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Just for clarification, that's still coming out of the same fund?
Yes.
as the
Same
last
fund,
one?
same fund.
Street paving 2021, Amber sent email to me today. The community crossing grant has hit a stumble. They're not going to release or talk about anything. I think it was until September. And what had happened was the community crossing, their main flow was gas tax. They get 7 cents a gallon on their gas tax. And when the COVID virus hit, nobody was driving. And it took a huge downfall in money. And Paul thought it might be 2 or 3 years down the road. Looks like we might not get funding for next year at all. So, you know, we were gonna decide tonight what we could do for paving next year and stuff, but I think that's on hold until they figure out what they're gonna do and stuff in September.
Everything it gave to do was the generated the taxes of the next 4 years on here. And they're cutting 50%, and then 15%, 15%, then 10%. And
What are you looking at?
this right here. You have one. There's one. Take one out. Okay. What it's telling us in 2024 on our streets, and the streets is all together, not just the BVH, the bridges, and the streets. We'll only have 26,000 on, because it's going down and down every year. And even our budget every year was 60,000, and actually only generates 40,000 every year. We have money.
What did they tell us to expect this year? Was it a 15% cut?
It's all put in there. It's all figured up right there. You can look every time, every year. Right now we get 40,000 every year. Next year it'll be back to 34,000, and then the next year we'll go down to 8,000. Yep, and go down. And then last year we come back to this point. And that's what I get from the meeting that had this state was going to happen to us. So get ready, they told us. We have money in next year's budget. I'm planning on 100,000. We don't have to spend it. We have to do the budget for this year, because otherwise we can't approve it. The state won't approve this. We don't have to spend it. Okay. Because things might change, because I know, and I also talked to the other, which one in here? Which an auditor, well, another auditor told me that if we don't plan it for now, that we might see this 75% in the next year. Only one more year and it'll be done. Go back to, and they'll go back to 50% on all of them. We're gonna have one shot and do it next year.
The future looks bleak.
Yes, it is. So this is why I've been working the budget back last 2 weeks, so.
But we'll be able to know a little bit more once we look at what our budget could be for next year, correct? So that we can try to plan for whatever we need to.
But this numbers
Right, those are the numbers, right. But
this one I'm planning for this next year. But we're okay on the streets. The rust I'm worried about. I'm talking kind of take another step from here. I was looking through the numbers. Right after appropriation in September, because our insurance is taking a big hit this year. So when I get it put together,
We expected
yep.
some of that towards the end of the year because we have been obliterated with bills from last year that were not appropriated into this year's budget. So when those bills come in, it was taken out of this year's budget instead of taking it out of the money that should have followed through. So that's one of the reasons 2020 has been destroyed.
So I'm saying, I'm not worried about appropriations. Additional appropriations screws,
Right.
messes up. Messes us up. So,
We're all right. That won't hurt us now.
so, I just, I was surprised you guys. I don't know. Everything I show up, I know, oh my gosh, we're gonna short on this.
After this 6 months, you couldn't surprise us with anything.
And everything right here on this budget, it tells you everything that I figure out is from the salt all the way down to paving. It's all a whole package. Okay. All right. And that's the question you asked me the last meeting, and you understand now? All right.
One thing I think maybe we should look at is we've got some tar things that need to be done on the boulevard, the cracks and stuff. And if we can't get something going through the community crossing fund for next year, maybe we need to take some bids this year on fixing that boulevard so that all that paving that was done a couple of years ago isn't in vain.
Yeah, because we still have
Because
time.
that water is freezing and getting inside the cracks and gonna tear that road apart.
Okay, we have one more time to do this year to take more shot, but it'll take until on.
The one we just haven't done, we can do, but anything from this point now, we won't know until September now until what's going on. But we do have money in the budget in case something happens where we can't do that, that we can bring somebody in to take care of that problem on the boulevard anyway. So let's, are we good for that and getting the quote on getting that done?
Hey, Randy, did Jason ever contact the county highway to see if we could
That I don't know about.
Borrow their pot?
borrow their tar?
'Cause we've got some
machine or
tar.
whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, that would you have, sir.
We call, you wanna call County Highway?
I can call county.
Call County Highway and see if we can borrow that. We'll get a date and go out there and melt some tar and fill some cracks.
No. No.
Attorney's report.
You probably already know, but the governor extended his emergency orders and again, it's gonna affect your disconnecting as well until middle of August. Unless he extends again.
Are we just sitting here because of this COVID virus and taking massive financial loss? Because, you know, we just had a house that people moved out of and they hadn't paid any of their bills from the coronavirus and stuck us with a $900 utility bill. And this town can't afford that and stuff. I mean, we've got another 32 people that have not paid their utility bill that are still working since this coronavirus come in, and then people take advantage of that. So, yeah, then they're over $1,000.
I'm right with you.
Where do we recoup this money? Where does, I mean, we can't take $27,000, $30,000 worth of loss from utilities that are just bouncing back now. And the governor's got to think something there. I mean, you just can't bankrupt your utilities. They're going to give us some free money that the taxpayer's going to pay back, the free money that they say they all have, and help us bounce back from the debts that they're making us incur.
If you didn't have this ordinance to remove yourself from the IURC jurisdiction, if it doesn't pass, there's gonna be another discussion that we are gonna have that you're not gonna like.
It's going to pass. I have not talked to one citizen yet that did not
Okay,
think it
good.
wasn't a bad idea because they know that it's going to
Because the
cost
IRC
$100,000 to be able to move a rate around that they have to pay for.
Issued more on top of what the governor issued.
Yeah. Any public comments?
We gotta discuss the Kerwin bills.
Oh, I'm sorry, I crossed it off. John, well, I crossed over there. John Kerwin has a huge amount of bills, about $14,000 worth of bills on his properties, as he said. And this is the John we're talking about.
His name or the tenant's names?
In tenants' names, and his name. So how do we recoup all this money? It just can't be lost.
Well, the only thing you can technically lien now under state law is your sewer lien. Everything else you can't lien. So that happened, I want to say, was it late last year or beginning of this year? It just recently happened. So what some municipalities did is that if your deposit wasn't high enough, we upped the deposit amount. But with everything going on with this governor's orders extension, does it really
Matter.
correct until we get out of this? But I guess to get to your point is at this point, I think the remedy would be to try to go after them in court.
I mean, some of these are going back to 2017, which this is definitely a problem we're gonna have to address and fix as a council. I mean, we can't, I mean, these issues have not just been this year or last year, it's been ongoing for several years.
And I think some wrong
I don't think
advice
John
was given
Kerwin
last
is,
year about the inability to turn off when.
yeah, I don't think John Kerwin's the first one that has an extended amount of.
And that's why I asked her before the meeting started. I talked to her about it because last year, you know, Joe was at the meeting, I was at the meeting. Mary Lake told the council that we couldn't do anything, the town couldn't do anything with the utilities until the utilities could be shut off. Once the utilities were shut off, then they could refuse to turn the utility back on until that account was paid up to date. In 2020, they changed or made a law saying no, that you can't hold that tenant or anything against the tenant.
No, you can't hold it against the landlord.
Correct.
Or for,
Correct.
right.
Yes.
Correct. But you still could turn off utilities for unpaid bills. You still could have done that last year.
With the tenants.
Correct.
Right. But see, that's where I think everything has kind of been lost and everything is crisscrossing here. We need to come up with some sort of plan and put it into motion in regards to where we stand with all of this, because how much of this bill is the tenant's responsibility and how much is it in John Kerwin's name? If it was in John Kerwin's name, he's responsible for the bill.
Okay.
If they were his tenants, the tenants are responsible for that bill, and we would have to go after each tenant.
The one on there says, John, those are his.
So all of these, so we're talking $2,000 just on this property. We're talking $2,259.56 was all in his name.
I was telling Dennis, the story's wishy-washy though, because the particular duplex over on Knox, we shut off as the old council, we shut them off. The tenants came down to the town hall and said that their agreement with John Kerwin was that they were paying their utilities as part of their rent. So, and then he'll tell you different. So, you know, there's the stories wishy-washy.
See, then that's where we have to, then we have to come up with some sort of letter to send to Kerwin to say that until his stuff is, where he's not ever gonna be able to rent this property. I don't know if we're able to do that or not. That's
But when you
something.
turn on utilities, don't you have them sign something with whose name they go on and who's deposited? Okay, so we should just be able to simply go back through the records and figure.
Right.
It should be easy, right?
Maybe.
If the records were kept.
The huge problem,
records were kept.
the huge
Right.
problem we had was the past clerk just didn't turn anybody off. She just let everybody go and do what they wanted to do. And when it was time for shut off, she said no. And it's tens of thousands of $50,000, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 worth of stuff.
But it wasn't her decision.
That's right, Chris.
Okay.
It wasn't her decision to do that.
No, it's not. Mine.
That wasn't her decision.
Whose decision was
It would
it?
have been the council's decision.
Okay, so how is that money recouped? Because we're talking about 6 figures.
It's not, that's the problem. That's what I'm saying is we're in a catch-22 here because a lot of this is gonna fall back on the previous councils for not enforcing what we.
It's
what we
falling
did.
on us because we're dealing with budgets
Right.
that have skimpy numbers in it.
Right, that's what I
That
said.
decisions were made this cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars, then how does that get recouped?
I'm with you. but that's-
Poor
that's
decision
what I'm
making
saying.
is not,
Right.
poor decision making is not an excuse for,
But that's where we need to come, that's where we need to put our foot down now, and we need to fix this problem so that it doesn't happen in the future, so that the money that is coming in is to us instead of, so if we need to, if some of this money is because of the lack of the leadership that we've had in the past, then we need to cut our losses now, and we need to start from the beginning, and we need to start addressing the issue now.
But if you don't have a paper trail,
Well, and I get that, but if we don't have a paper trail, then that falls back on the council. That makes the council's,
null and void.
but it's not our fault. We can sit up here and say, we took over January 1st at, this fly is gonna die. We took over January 1st. That's what we're responsible for. We can't be held responsible for anything that happened prior to. We weren't in the positions. My point is, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up tonight is because moving forward, we need to figure out what we have to cut our losses and move on. And I understand that it's probably thousands and thousands of dollars, probably.
100,000.
I get it. But at this point, if there is no way to, am I right? If there is no way to recoup the money, if there is no way to do this, we're just running around in circles, but we need to fix the problem.
Has anybody called State Board of Accounts though, and got a recommendation from them about?
last I heard on the State Board of Accounts was they couldn't even do the last year's budget because there was no paperwork. And they told him to try to piece everything back together this year.
And State Board of Accounts had done all the way up through 2018,
Right.
with the last thing that they were here. So they had basically,
19 is the worst.
yeah, 19 is the where they would.
There's no
really
paper
took
trail
it
from
in.
February on in 19.
Did they audit it for 19
They
yet?
have not.
Okay.
They were going to audit 19, but there's no paperwork. But where do you go with nothing? So you have to wait until all the bills come in and everything else that we've been dealing with for the last 6 months to try to piece everything back together.
And they couldn't do 19 because 19 wasn't completed as of yet, so they were waiting for 19 to be completed and said they were gonna come back sometime this year, but then, of course, the
What happened? Well, if you can have some type of paper trail, then you could try to collect it in court and file an action in court. I guess the only thing that concerns me is that if you had people that were renting, I don't know how traceable they're going to be to serve them and ultimately collect from them. Just have to be cognizant of that. You can get a judgment, but getting it paid is another thing.
And that's where I said is, as a council, this is where we need to really address this and start putting the push to the landlords and make them
Well,
enforce
and-
what we
and-
need to enforce.
And
as
just
far
so Dwayne knows, and it's on record here, there is one agreement a year, period. And if you don't pay your utility bill, you get shut off, period.
Well, you send notices, right? You know, you
Yes.
send the proper notices, okay. And yeah, you send a notice, if it's not paid, then you can turn it off.
The only thing that stopped us right now at this point is the governor.
Right.
Correct.
Well, I mean, then.
Does that change after the IURC is done?
No, the governor still
Is he still
orders in
overruled?
effect.
He's still-
Correct, correct. But like you said, the IURC made it more restrictive than the governor right now. That's why it's gonna be beneficial for you guys to get out of it. But that, who knows what the governor's gonna do again. I didn't expect him to extend it this time.
Randy?
I know many towns and cities that for renters, if they bail on their rent, it automatically gets forfeited back to the homeowner to cover the expense.
Yeah, but that's what that.
That's what the statute-
That's what the statute addressed.
The new
this
statute of
year.
2020.
It used to
Right.
be that
It
way.
used to be, but now they're saying that the landlord is not
Yeah,
responsible for
correct.
the tenant's bills. Yeah.
But then you may want to pass something that renting property stays in the landlord's name.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't,
do that
right,
either?
yeah.
Oh.
No, that legislative session, they had good lobbyists from
Yes,
the
they
landlord
did.
association.
Yes, they did.
Somebody stepped on a crack. And
That was one of the Ames things that they were saying, that was gonna affect a lot of municipalities, and they were concerned with that particular ordinance because we have no recourse, but we have loss. However, we can put in ordinances into place in regards to making these landlords keep their properties up putting these fire and safety inspections into place and stuff like that by ordinance. So that's where we need to tighten up with the landlords. That way they screen their tenants a little bit better, because that you said it, we have kind of a revolving door where they don't, some of these landlords, I'm not ashamed to say it at all, they don't care, they want money, and they want money into their pockets. I've seen many of places with just really, really messed up stuff, and I've closed,
I have rental property in Chicago, and when I lease mine, on my contract, they're responsible for their lights, gas, and everything. It's in the contract. I pay the taxes, and I pay the insurance, and that's it.
And
They're
you're
responsible. I have
responsible
paperwork
for the
that.
property in itself, but the tenant is responsible for their utilities and stuff like that.
Right.
And
That's right in the contract.
That's where we as a board need to come up with a lot stricter rules with landlords and stuff like that. Keep a tighter leash on them, then they'll want to keep their properties up, and then maybe people will actually want to stay here instead of.
We have an ordinance in place that states that the fire department goes in and checks for the smoke detectors, and we have an ordinance in place stating that the building inspector, once the property is vacated, before the utilities can be turned back on or put into another person's name, that the building inspector has to go in and make sure it's safe. Safe being by our ordinance means that you gotta have so many square foot per person. You can't bring a 6-person family into a 2-bedroom house and stuff. And that has not been followed, period, for years. We used to do it when I worked here, sporadically. It was never a perfect thing, but there is ordinances, and I've come across them now, that we should be following, that would solve a lot of this problem. But it starts at your office to get it done. And there's never been a cooperation, I'm not pointing you out, Dwayne, so there's never been a cooperation between the clerk's office and the council and everybody to get that done.
But it's my problem to
But it falls there. You can stop it right at the town hall and say, okay, you're gonna move into this address. Here's the number for the fire department. Here's the number for the building inspector. Here's the form that the town has for the inspection. And once they're signed off for the inspection, that the utilities can be turned on.
And the landlord was supposed to be the final signature on the page showing that fire department's been in, building inspector's been in, and everything is up to code to be able to go to the next tenant. And this, I know this is kind of a revolving door, and it's gonna take a lot of work, but man, I remember used to doing fire and safety inspections all the time. And the last couple of years that I was on the department, I had zilch. So any tenant can request the fire department. We can't just go in and say that we're doing it. That's just not, you have to be invited in to do it. And by ordinance, that invites us in to go.
And me.
And right, that invites him and the fire department in to go and do their inspection and to make sure that the property is up to code.
Yep. So, I guess I need to pull them ordinances out and stuff, and we need to have a special meeting to sit down and go through them.
Bottom line, tighten up the landlords, tighten up our financial situation. And I know we're gonna take a hit. I know we are, because our records is not, we've already determined that our records are not the best over the last several years. So some of this stuff that we have is irrelevant. We need to move on. We need to cut the head off the snake and move on and try to recoup what we can.
That's a 6-figure snake with a diamond on his head. I'll kill the snake, but I want the diamond back.
I apologize to the public that it happened, that it's like this, but there's nothing that we can do except for fix it, and that's what we need to do. Sorry, Amber.
No, not yelling at me, you're just looking at me.
Because I know it's gonna entail some work for you as well with ordinances and stuff like that, so.
Sorry.
You wanna hit that up?
What's
Got
that?
time? With the landlord thing?
If that's what you want me to do, I'll take it.
Oh, please.
Okay.
I'm trying to do the ordinances and doing everything else.
Tell me what I need to do.
Warrant in, I would. love to see others
Pick what you have.
jump in it.
And then if you want to send it to me, I'll help you pick it apart and see what needs to be redone or
And you send it to her,
anything.
send it to me so that I can start looking at it. I was part of it, I was part of the one with the fire department going in, so I know, and the building inspector, I was part of that when it was developed, so.
It'll probably be in the next week or so. Any other public comment? Public comment?
I would think that all that would need to be done before the landlord takes their money too,
Sure.
you know?
Well,
That's what he did to that lady.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's part of the process though, is that we need to get letters out to the landlord saying that before they need to check with the town hall prior to renting out their properties once it's vacated.
Yeah.
That's something, a letter needs to go out to all those landlords so that it's clear that before they rent their property out or take money or whatever, that they need to contact the town hall. That gives them a relationship with the town hall too, to fix things.
Wasn't that package available before though with you guys, Dennis and everybody? Where you went into the town
We
hall?
had a landlord tenant form, and we had meetings, and the landlords just got to where they just didn't want to be a part of it. No, who are you to be telling me how I can do my things? And
It's different now.
actually, when it started and stuff, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good thing. We served food, we had them come in and stuff, tried to make it a friendly atmosphere, and, you know, a few of them back then and stuff that we're having problems with now, we're just, you aren't telling me how to run my houses, or be involved, or getting involved with my houses. So I think Brian's right. I think we need to get involved in their houses, so we'll get involved.
And I think one thing you're gonna have to, you want everything brought up to code. Technically, every house that's built out here in 42
Well,
is not up to code.
Okay.
And you're not gonna be getting no landlords.
Justin, you still have the life and safety code book up in the office, I'm pretty sure. There's a life and safety code that the fire departments are required to follow when they go inside to these things. Yes, there is a lot of houses that are grandfathered in, and if there is a problem, then it needs to be fixed and everything else, but we can't force them to upgrade their 60 amp service to 100 amp service. I mean, I think there is something in there that if electrical problems exist, that they have to bring it up to 100 watt or 100 amp service, but I've still seen houses out here with the little, I didn't even know if they, I don't even think they sell them anymore, but yeah, I mean, but you got hundreds of them that are out here, but yes, if it's an issue though, it needs to be resolved by life and safety code.
Any other public comments? Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
I'll second it. To adjourn.
Second to adjourn, don't go anywhere, public can leave, we have an executive session.